Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is just a fun breakdown of everything going on ahead of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 13 reunion, who is beefing? What's going on with Kyle? Is she with Morgan? Is she not with Morgan? Is she trying to manipulate Dorit? What is going on? But before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to shop our merch. We have some conspiracy tees. We also have sweatshirts and hoodies and joggers as well. So definitely check out all of our merch. It's linked down below in the description box and it's also pinned at the top. So treat yourself. So with that, let's go. So, first up, let's talk about Dorit Kemsley leaking Kyle Richards' text messages ahead of the reunion taping. Dorit is saying that Kyle is trying to silence her and that she's being manipulative and calculated. I kind of go on the fence with this. I have a little bit of an unpopular but popular opinion, and I'll get into it. But I understand why Kyle sent the text. Do I think it's right? No. But do I understand why she did it? Yes. But let's get into it. And then I also have the text messages. So this is according to Reality Blurb. It says Dorit Kemsley is seen sharing a text message sent to her by Kyle Richards while Erika Jayne was backstage at the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion in a just released sneak peek at the upcoming 3-part special. As they prepared to take to the set for filming, Erika asked Dorit if she was nervous about the taping, and in turn, Dorit revealed that she was most upset about the lingering tension between her and Kyle, who had recently accused her of exaggerating their friendship. So I do have that clip that we can watch, so we'll watch that in a little bit. You know, there's stuff with Kyle and I that's going on, and it hurts and bothers me. I mean, you obviously saw the press, you saw in the press that things were said where she said, I exaggerated our friendship, Dorit explained. In a previous interview, Kyle had claimed she would only recall going on one trip with Dorit and their husbands, Mauricio and Paul P.K. Kemsley, and accused Dorit's statements about their friendship of being an exaggeration. So basically, Kyle was like, I don't know Dorit. She needs to keep her name out of my mouth. We're not that close. We're not good friends. Mind you, prior to this, they were besties. It was Auntie Mo, Aunt Kyle with her children. They were going on family vacations. They were, couples friends. Mauricio and PK were very, very close. They were even going to do a reality show together about real estate. As we know, Mauricio said, bye, PK. I'm going to do my own show on Netflix. And then PK went to go do his own show in the UK about real estate, but they were friends. Don't forget, and this is the problem, right? The problem with all of this is that they're not actually addressing the elephant in the room. Dorit can't say Kyle is so calculated and manipulative by sending these text messages trying to silence me, ahead of the reunion. And, she said our friendship was exaggerated without being like, and maybe that's because the entire world thought I was having sex with her husband. And that's why she kind of paused the friendship. On the flip side of that, Kyle, you can't be sending these text messages trying to silence Dorit and telling her to, just curb our issues, don't bring it up. Oh, I love you guys. Well, because I'll read to you exactly what she said. But the entire time you have been cold to Dorit. You did say, I really don't know her. She exaggerated our friendships. Our families really aren't that close. And you haven't been talking to her. You can't do all of that without saying, yeah, because the whole world thought you were having sex with my husband, who I am now separated from, who the entire world thinks it's because he cheated on me, not just with you, but repeatedly for decades. So that's what the big problem is here, is that neither Dorit or Kyle is actually being honest about the why of the demise of their friendship. Kyle can blame it all day long on how Dorit said, oh, Kyle, can you take some responsibility? And you and Kathy last year at last year's reunion, because that's the excuse Kyle gave. She was like, oh, behind the scenes, Dorit was so supportive and said, oh, I understand everything with Kathy. But then at the reunion, she's like, well, Kyle, can you just like take some responsibility? Like, don't do that. Don't do that in public in front of her. Like, do I think that irritated Kyle? Yes. Do I think that's one reason why Kyle stopped messing with Dorit? Yes, because Kyle is petty like that. Kyle is, if you are not my yes person, then I will ice you out. If you're not my yes person, then I will play the victim and act like you're the villain and get everybody against you so then I can have a sob story. That is Kyle, 100%. But do I think that is the core issue? Hell no. And another reason why I say that is because it's not just the fact that there has been a breakdown between Dorit and Kyle's friendship, but there has also been a fundamental breakdown in two things. In addition to that, there's also been a fundamental breakdown between the friendship of Mauricio and PK. Why would Dorit just saying to Kyle, oh, can you take some responsibility in the Kathy situation over a year and a half ago at the reunion cause a rift between Mauricio and PK? It wouldn't. But like Dorit said, we haven't seen them as a couple. PK was making his little snide remarks. He was saying how he didn't see Mauricio. And when they were filming and they had a boys' night, they hadn't had a boys' night in months. What would cause a rift between Mauricio and PK? A rumor that Mauricio was having sex with his wife, Dorit. That is what would cause a beef between two men. The second thing that caused a rift that they're not talking about, it's not just the fact that Kyle and Dorit are no longer friends. It's not just the fact that Mauricio and PK really don't mess with each other like that anymore. It's the fact that now both of these marriages have been on the rocks. Both of these marriages, one has confirmed separated, the second was speculated separated. Both of these marriages, right after the rumor about Mauricio and Dorit broke, both of these marriages have basically crumbled. And I get no joy in that. To me, this isn't a key type of thing. It's not that. So I'm not like reveling in somebody else's pain. I'm not laughing or mocking it. I'm just looking at it from an observer's perspective and talking about it because it is a part of pop culture. So I want to make that clear. I don't get any joy or happiness or a key out of any family or marriage breaking down. Absolutely not. I hope they all get back together and I hope they're all happy, whether or not, I like their persona on a TV show. In real life, I hope they all are happy and whatever that looks like for them and their children, I want them to be happy because they're humans, But I think that is what is truly missing. And I don't think they're actually going to address it at the reunion. So whatever excuse that they're going to use, whatever, weird roundabout excuses they're going to use, it's going to fall flat to me and it's not going to ring true because they're not talking about the actual problem. The actual problem is the rumor last year about Mauricio and Dorit. Now, do I think that Kyle and Mauricio had other problems? Do I think that PK and Dorit had other problems? 100%. Lawsuits, financial problems, cheating allegations all around the world, all of that stuff, 100%. But I think the core demise of these two women's friendship, of these two men's friendship, of these two couples, I think at the heart of it is that rumor. And I think it makes no sense that it was never brought up once in the entire season. I think it makes no sense that they're not talking about it now. I think it makes no sense that they're not going to talk about it at the reunion. The only time they talked about it was last year, being like, "Oh, it's so ridiculous. People thought we were sweet swingers." And the reason why Kyle said it was so ridiculous was out of her own mouth because of how close they are. But now, fast forward, I don't really know her like that. She's exaggerating the friendship. But the reason why you said the rumor of her having sex with your husband was so ridiculous was because of how close the two couples were. That was your whole excuse. Now, I don't know if something came out. I don't know if Mauricio admitted to something. I don't know if Dorit admitted to something. I don't know if there was evidence found. I don't know. But there's a fly in the milk and something ain't right. And that is what is missing to me. You know, Kyle's like, something happened that broke the trust, but she won't say what it is. You know, PK has been MIA this entire season. And the only time he's on screen is basically to tell Dorit how delusional he thinks she is. And when has PK ever missed a party that Mauricio has thrown? Ever. You think it's a coincidence PK just so happened to extend his stay in London for a month and a half and miss the white party? I've never seen PK miss a party, especially with his old pal Mo. So I don't think it's a coincidence that this season, both Kyle and Dorit's marriages are basically in shambles, and the two women are beefing. I think the problem is they're not being honest as to why. Now I'm going to tell you what I think Dorit is doing with this whole text message situation, and then I'll read you guys what Kyle said. What I think Dorit is doing with the whole leaking of the text messages, you know, getting Erika on her side, and we'll watch the little clip too. I think Dorit is realizing I'm on the chopping block for next season. I think she realizes she might be fired because she's boring and she doesn't really have a storyline that anybody's invested in. And she knows that she no longer has Kyle for cover on the show for two reasons. One, because Kyle no longer even has cover on the show. You know, they have been coming after Kyle's neck every single episode. Kyle is on her own island at this point when it comes to these ladies, right? So Kyle doesn't even have cover for herself anymore. How can she now have Kyle for cover for Dorit? That's why Erika jumped ship to Garcelle and Sutton, because Erika was like, I'm going to go where I'm most likely going to be brought back next year for a check and more of my 15 minutes of fame on this show. Is it with Kyle? I don't think so. Is it with Garcelle and Sutton? Yeah. So she jumped ship. And I think Dorit is jumping ship as well. That's why she was like, well, you told Andy Cohen to eviscerate her, and fair is fair, and we're at the reunion. So Dorit is basically saying, Kyle, if you're not with me and going to give me cover, then I'm going to go against you like everybody else so I can cover myself. That's what I really think is going on with her leaking these text messages and all of this stuff. She's trying to make herself relevant. She's trying to give herself a storyline, and she's jumping on the everybody against Kyle bandwagon because she's trying to save herself and she's trying to save her diamond, right? Now let's look at the text messages. Okay. So this is what Kyle allegedly sent to Dorit. Oof, it's a novel. Girl, bye. So she says, and this is right before the filming of the reunion. Hi, I've been trying to reach out because I know we are in a weird place and it really bothers me. And it's not even on the show. And it's not even on the show. Side note. Again, keep telling us this show is fake as hell. Because Kyle has actually been on a complete media tour basically saying this show is fake. She went on Jeff Lewis and said, I don't talk to these women outside of filming. They don't know what's going on in my house. Stop asking. I don't know what's going on in your house. Stop asking. She went on Jeff Lewis and said, I don't know Annemarie. I met the chick once and then said, oh, she would be a great fit for the show. Read between the lines because they were doing diversity hiring. That's my assessment. Kyle didn't say diversity hiring. Those are my words. I want to be clear. I'm not putting words in her mouth. Those are my words. But she said, I only met Annemarie once because Annemarie has gotten so much backlash. So I thought you and Annemarie were friends, and that's how she got on the show. But you met her once. I thought you and these women, it's a group about friendship. I thought these were your sisters and your friends. But you basically said, I don't talk to you and we're not filming. Keep my name out your mouth. So now she's saying in the text messages, I know in real life, Dorit, you and me are beefing and we're not cool, but it's not even shown on the show. Again, why? Why was the depth of the beef between Dorit and Kyle not shown on the show? I was saying that since last year. I said if they don't actually do a deep dive into what would be actually the most salacious storyline, most cliche trope, you know, two housewives' best friends, and one is cheating with the other's husband. Not to be like, I want to see something dark and evil, but it would actually be kind of a breath of fresh air from all of the fraud and the racism and the transphobia and the this and the that and the sexual and the assault and all. It would be actually sadly, it would actually be a nice break. It would be some good juicy drama, but it wouldn't be as dark all the way down to hell that we've been getting with these reality shows. It wouldn't be fighting and violence and people being deported and frauding people and going to prison. At least it would be some juicy stuff that makes sense in the world of bored rich people having sex with each other. That's juicy. But the fact that they weren't honest about, because they touched on it a little bit, a little bit of here and there, a little bit in the confessionals, but Kyle is admitting herself it wasn't even shown on the show. So basically, what we saw on the show wasn't the truth. So Kyle has just been spilling the tea that this show is fake as hell. Like, at least pretend it's real so we can suspend our disbelief, okay? Let's keep going. And it's not even on the show. I wanted to explain where I am at and why I have been distant, but my hands were tied. Why were your hands tied? Or do you just not want to say, Dorit, I don't mess with you anymore because there was an entire rumor going around that you were having sex with my husband? Whether it is true or not, that is going to have an effect. Whether the degree of truth, was it just flirtation? Was it a kiss? Was it a drunken night? Was it a full-blown affair? Was it nothing? Was it just a flirtation? There's levels to it. The same way there's levels to cheating. There's physical cheating. There's emotional cheating. There's levels to this. It's also who you cheat with. There's levels to it. We are smart over here and we understand nuance. So it doesn't mean that Dorit and Mauricio are in love and they're having this fantasy affair. That's not what we're talking about. There's nuance to things. There's levels to things, right? Of course, some interview comments hurt my feelings and created more issues for me, but I am used to that and I could get past it in time. So Kyle is basically only talking about herself. I also reminded myself that you didn't know what I was going through with Mo at the time for most of these remarks. But then I heard some things that you said about me off camera that hurt me deeply, and I wasn't even able to say what I heard or from whom. Okay, Kyle, this is where you messed up, sweetheart. This is where you messed up. Because do I think Dorit was talking crap about you behind your back off camera? 100%. Hell yeah, she was. Because Dorit doesn't actually really like you, Kyle. I never thought Dorit actually liked you. I thought Dorit used you, faux Fox 5 style. Kyle has been an anchor of the show. She's been coveted by producers. She's been protected by producers. I'm not saying she's a fan favorite, but she has always been the anchor. Not anymore. It's Garcelle now. But I think she always used you. So do I think that Dorit was talking crap about you behind your back? 100%. And you know who I think she was talking about you to? Lisa Rinna. And you know who I think told Kyle? Lisa Rinna. That's just my gut feeling. That's just my speculation. That's just what I think happened. I think Lisa Rinna ran to Kyle because Lisa Rinna wants her check back, her diamond back. And it was like, oh, you're trusting Ding Dong Dorit. Well, this is what she said about you. Bring me back on the show, get me back on, and we can do whatever. Now, where Kyle messed up is this. You're sitting on a gold mine. Is it called a gold mine? A gold mine. I guess that's what it's called. Anyway, you're sitting on gold, Kyle. You're sitting on the juiciest storyline that's not evil. Obviously, affairs are bad, but you know what I'm saying. With the whole Dorit and Mauricio thing that you're refusing to talk about. And you're sitting on Dorit betraying you by saying all this stuff about you behind your back. Why didn't you bring it up in filming? Why didn't you talk about it on the show? Who are you protecting? Rinna? Because I don't think it was Erika who said it to you. I think that this is what I think. It was probably Erika, Rinna, and Dorit talking crap, and Rinna ran back and told it to Kyle. Because who else would I mean, if they have real friends and off camera, who else would it be? So why didn't you bring it up? Why didn't you talk about it? Why didn't you call her to task? That would have given you a whole storyline. It would have made sense why you're beefing with Dorit low key. And it would have made this season make a lot more sense, because the problem with this season is that it was so surface and so disjointed because nobody was actually being honest. Nobody. You should have just said, Dorit, I feel some type of way about the rumor that you had an affair with Mauricio. Dorit, I feel some type of way, because even if you said, I'm not going to tell me who said this to me, but I heard you said boom, 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 boom. That would have been explosive and interesting. And then that would have been really good to see how this female friendship, because that's another pillar of the show, is these female friendships and dynamics. How do you navigate those issues? The issues of, are you sleeping with my husband? The issue of, you're supposed to be my best friend. Are you talking crap about me behind my back? That would have been an amazing season. Way better than talking about Sutton's esophagus and who's having vodka and who's drinking, and fake lesbian relationships, because we're going to get to that fake relationship. I don't care how much Morgan wants to pat you on the butt and do whatever this performative crap you're doing. I don't believe that relationship is real for a second. That would have been an interesting season because it would have been rooted in truth. Let's keep going. Dun, 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 dun. It was one of those things where I wished I just didn't know at all, because I wasn't able to share, and yet I was left hurt and couldn't even try to work through it with you. Well, that's a you problem, Kyle, not a Dorit problem. Not that I'm defending Ding Dong Dorit, but Kyle, if you are unable to communicate what is going on with you, how is somebody else supposed to be able to fix it? And it is manipulative. Like, I couldn't do anything. My hands were tied and I was so hurt. And you hurt me, hurt me, hurt me, hurt me, hurt me. Okay. Okay. And I know you will be frustrated and want to know what and who said it, but I can't. It's as frustrating to me as it will be to you. Trust me. I have gone through such a hard time to reach. I've been in so much pain, I can't tell you. Never have I felt so low. Okay. This is a thing. I will give Kyle grace in this moment because she did lose her friend to a very tragic thing. She, for whatever reason, she is grieving the loss of a 27-year marriage. You know, whether they truly divorce or not, I don't know. But I do think but the separation with Mo, I do think that's real. So I'm going to give her grace. You know, she is a human being. So I do think she has been in a lot of pain. And I do think she really has been hurt. And I really do think she really has been at a low. And I understand that. But I don't know. But it is, again, it's still almost weaponizing your trauma in order to manipulate somebody into doing what you want them to do. And that's where the manipulation comes in. Because do I think Kyle has been in pain? I do. Do I think she's been at a low? I do. Do I think she has been hurt? I do. And do I think she deserves grace and understanding and love for all of that? I do. But I don't think that she can use that to then weaponize it against somebody else when you haven't been transparent with them about what you're going through. But now you want to say that you're in this bad place in order to basically get them to shut up and play ball. That's where the disconnect is. So I do give her grace, and my heart does go out to her, because I don't care, you know, Kiki, Rally TV aside, losing someone in your life that way. And I know what she said to Sutton about her father, and I know what she said to Lisa Vanderpump about her brother. I know she said those horrible things. I know she did. I know she did. But I can know that someone has done some messed up stuff and still feel empathy and compassion for them. So I will give her that. Also, maybe the person who told her these horrible things, do we think it was Mauricio? Do we think Dorit was talking crap about Kyle to Mo? But then why would Kyle not say that? See, it kind of makes me think it's another girlfriend who swore her to secrecy, right? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think it was Rinna or another girlfriend. I think that if Mo had told her something, I don't think that she would feel like any, like, if your husband tells you something that your friend said, you want your husband has that allegiance to you. So you wouldn't be betraying him by being like, "Yo, why are you going to talk to my husband about this stuff?" Right? So we'll see. Okay. And I know you were also going through a hard time. Normally, I would have reached out to check on you, but I was hurt and very depressed. I've spent 30 years with Mo, married 28, and I have no idea how to live without him or how to navigate through life on my own because I have so much on my plate for tomorrow, and I know you do too. I love you, PK, and your kids so much. I've been thinking about you a lot and hoping you aren't struggling too much. I don't want to lose someone else in my life over a TV show. They don't even know we are going through a hard time, so I don't see the need to bring it up there. Again, Kyle, you are telling the world, well, I don't think you meant to, but Dorit was like, I never liked you in the first place, so I'm jumping ship to save myself and my diamond. I'm going to just expose you. Because to be honest with you, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it like I mean it. To be honest with you, I think Dorit is dead wrong for sharing these text messages. I do. I think Dorit is the bigger snake. I think Dorit is the bigger manipulator. I think Dorit is the bigger sniper from the side in this situation. I really do. I get Kyle trying to be like, hey, I've been going through so much. Can we not bring it up tomorrow? We both have so much on our plate, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But for Dorit to leak it, I think Dorit is the bigger snake. Because Dorit, you can't have it both ways. You can't keep playing, not even in our faces. But to be honest with you, Dorit, you're playing in Kyle's face. You've been playing in Kyle's face for years, acting like you're her best friend, yes person, when you clearly don't really even like Kyle. And you keep playing like you want your friendship back and you want to be close and your kids call her auntie and blah, 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 blah. But the moment you had ammunition, you screenshotted it and you shared it with the world to throw her under the bus. Now, you might be like, oh, well, I don't have any allegiance to you anymore, Kyle. You said our relationship was exaggerated. Dorit, humble yourself because at the end of the day, the rumor was that you were having sex with her husband. So you got to have a little bit of thing we like to call perspective. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I thought about this. I was like, okay, if me and my best friend, and let's say at this point in time, we're both seeing people, but let's say at this point in time, we're both married. And there is a rumor that I am having sex with her husband. This is me putting myself in Dorit's position. In that particular dynamic, and let's say it's not true, I know it is my job. And this is the thing, this is if I'm fronting as this person's best friend, the way Dorit has been fronting. If it's, I don't know this chick, this is a different conversation. I'm putting it in the context of Dorit fronting in Kyle's face for the last 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 111 years, however long they've been on the show together, fronting like she's her best friend. If that is the case, in my personal opinion, the onus is on me to make sure the relationship stays intact, the friendship. And I'm going to understand, even if it's not true, do you need some space? Do you want to talk about this? Like, what is going on with you? Things might get a little funny for a bit because people can, and this is just my opinion, you can lie and be like, oh no, I'm confident, I'm secure, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm sorry. You're a human being. There's a rumor that your best friend is sleeping with your man. You're going to feel some type of way until 1,000%, 100%, it's absolutely not true. It's going to cross your mind. You're going to doubt. You're going to feel some type of way. And even if it's not true, sometimes life isn't fair. I'm not saying it's fair, but I think in the dynamic, it's kind of up to you to nurture that relationship more. So I think Dorit is actually dead wrong for this. And I think she's actually manipulating the situation because she needs a storyline and she needs relevancy. And this is her way, in my opinion, of trying to save her diamond. But Dorit been exposed herself because remember last season at the finale at Kyle's house when it was all exposed about Rinna and Erika and the publicist leaking all of his stuff and it was all exposed, right? What did Dorit say? She said, I know the two of you are friends. And I know they're friends, referring to like Erika and Rinna. And then she was talking about like Garcelle and Sutton and whatever. And she goes, but I'm on an island. That right there tells you everything you need to know about Dorit. She's only ever been out for self. So I see this situation a little bit differently than how it's been picked up in the media. Do I think Kyle was being manipulative? Yeah. She wanted an easier ride on the reunion. She didn't want more on her plate. She already said, we lied all season, just lie tomorrow. That's basically what Kyle said. They don't know we've been beefing this entire time. Let's just keep the lie. That's basically what she was saying. She wasn't trying to silence Dorit because the truth is, at any point in time, Dorit herself could have exposed what was really going on in her relationship with Kyle, but she didn't either. They had some confessional moments. Oh, Kyle, oh, oh, what's going on? Like, whatever, some very surface crap. But clearly there was a lot more deeper stuff going on that Dorit didn't bring up either. So it's not that Kyle was trying to silence Dorit. Kyle was just like, let's rock the way we've been rocking, lying. But because Dorit needed a storyline and relevancy, and she knows that Kyle is the odd woman out, she wanted to, have some receipts to talk about, have some text messages. So to be honest with you, this situation makes me look at Dorit way worse than I look at Kyle. Way worse. Okay, let's keep going. Where did we stop? Okay. They don't even know we are going through a hard time, so I don't see the need to bring it up there. I should have said something sooner, but I honestly haven't been strong enough. But relationships and you are more important to me than the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I don't feel like bringing it for them at our expense, especially when we have enough battles to handle as it is. Anyway, I would like to sit down and talk after we get through tomorrow. Maybe have lunch or dinner when you can. If you want to talk before tomorrow, I am around. I am around. I would give anything not to go and have to do this. I don't know how much longer I can do this show. It's so toxic and creates so much anxiety for me. Anyway, let me know if you want to talk. XX. Whew. Girl. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it does when it comes to Ding Dong Dorit. I'm on Kyle's side in this particular beef. I'm on Kyle's side. I'm Team Kyle with this one, guys. Because number one, like I said, if you have blood running through your veins, you're going to feel some type of way. If the entire world is laughing and speculating, and I put my hand up because I talk about this when it to Beverly Hills this rumor too, because we talk about rumors, we talk about blind items, we talk about the blogs. It's just a part of it, right? That your so-called best friend is sleeping with your man. That I get that. I get that. And to be honest with you, I understand Kyle being like, listen, we lied the entire season. I'm just checking in to make sure we're still planning to lie tomorrow. That's basically what Kyle said. That's not silencing. That's not manipulating. That's just saying, we on the same page? Dorit, you're a snake. You're a snake. And let's watch her and Erika, okay? Here we go.
Here is the text Kyle sent Dorit the day before the reunion to try and silence her. Dorit says the text was manipulative and calculated. Here is the text Kyle sent Dorit the day before the reunion to try and silence her.
Basically trying to silence me. It was so manipulative. It was so... She sends me a text yesterday, basically trying to silence me. It was so manipulative. It was so calculated.
It's like a novel, bitch.
Thank you.
What the Hi, I've been wanting to reach out because I know we're in a weird place. Of course, some of the interview comments hurt my feelings and creative issues. They always do. I don't want to lose someone else in my life over a TV show. They don't even know we are going through a hard time, so I don't see the need in bringing it up there. I would like to sit down and talk after we get through tomorrow.
How would you feel if you got this message?
I would feel manipulated.
Okay, you said on Watch What Happens Live, I got eviscerated. I love Kyle, but fair is fair.
Yes, I did say
Okay,
that.
this is exactly my point. Fair is fair. This is the reunion.
I hear you. I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I hate every moment of it.
Oof. So what do you guys think? Put it down below. Whose side are you on? Are you on Ding Dong Dorit's side and she's saying that Kyle is manipulative and calculated? Or are you on Kyle's side and you're just like, no, chick, we both lied the entire season. We both were not honest about what was going on with our friendship. I was just making sure we're continuing the lie tomorrow because I got a lot to combat anyway. Or are you on neither of their side and you're just like, they both need to go and it's time for both of them to stop lying. They both are tired. So put it down below and let me know what you guys think. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to Kyle and Morgan. Okay. This is according to Dumas. As we know, Dumas is one of the blind items, all of that stuff, gossip. It says, pseudonyms, please. It's official. Cougar meets country. Loved Up. This country music singer is set to premiere their relationship in a very public way. The Loved Up pair shot a highly coveted magazine cover, which will drop shortly and be a shock to many. This is the thing. I never thought that Kyle and Morgan were in an actual sexual relationship. I have always stood by the fact that this is a PR relationship, and I stand by that fact. I also have the clip of them at the Watch What Happens Live red carpet. So let's watch that clip, okay? And then I'm going to get into what I think is really going on. Okay, so you guys saw that, right? The whole her rubbing up on her side at Watch What Happens Live and all of these now, Dumas blind items that they're a couple and it's official and they're going to have some magazine cover. this is what I think is really going on. Number one, I think it's a PR relationship. I think that Kyle was going through some things. She listened to Morgan's music. I think that is true. Reached out to Morgan. I think Morgan's camp was like, whoa, this is Kyle Richards of Bravo, of Hilton. She has all of these fans, all of these followers. They're on NBC. Let's see what we can do to help your career with this. We'll get you followers, we'll get you money, we'll get you tour, we'll get you merchandise. Because ever since Morgan hooked up with Kyle, we now know who Morgan Wade is. She's doing an entire tour with Alanis Morissette. She's selling out her tours and her merchandise and all of this stuff. She has really had a huge come up, both in her career, in her public profile, and in her money. So Morgan Wade has profited from this beyond. I think that PR relationship contract came up and it was over. That's when we had Morgan deleting all of the Instagram photos. We had Kyle on Jeff Lewis being like, yeah, Morgan is just one chick in the rotation. She's just one friend I text. It's, the media is the one who blew everything out of proportion. Kyle was wearing a Umansky, jacket right before filming the reunion. And then she was defending Mo and all of this stuff. It basically looked like their quote friendship or relationship was over. And I was like, the contract is up. Then all of a sudden, you see Morgan being like, I'm not fighting with Kyle. Then they're spotted out at like Craig's. Then, she's coming on with her to watch what happens live and they're touching each other. Now there's blind items about them being together and it's official and people will be shocked and all this stuff. This is what I think happened. I think they were fearful of backlash because again, in 2024, the game is different. And what I mean by that, with social media, with bloggers and YouTubers and blind items and everything, and the knowledge that we now have about these fake celebrity relationships, the game is very, very different. And our temperament and our appetite and our, what word am I looking for? Threshold for the bullshit is different. So I think the fact that when it, in my opinion, became very clear that the contract was up and Kyle basically was just like, yeah, she's some chick in rotation. Morgan was like, keep me out of this. I just want to play my music now. I'm done with my devil contract, I think they were fearful of the backlash. So instead of continuing with, which I think would have been a slow fade out, they doubled down. No, we're still friends. No, we're not fighting. No, all of this stuff, because I don't think they wanted the backlash from the fans. Because in this day and age, we will bring you up and we will even quicker bring you down. And it was, everybody was talking about it. Oh, are they fighting? Are they not fighting? Was it fake? Was it real? Blah, 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 blah. I think this relationship is as real as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. It's fake, in my opinion. It's PR and it's a stunt. Kyle needed a storyline. She needed to make Mauricio jealous. Morgan and her team wanted a come up. Now Morgan is, at award shows. She has all of these tourist stuff. She sold everything out. And I think their camps were fearful that if they did not continue the charade, there would be a backlash. And that's why now they're doing the most. Touching her butt at Watch What Happens Live. Like, come on. Leaking stuff to Dumas. Come on. Come on. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. But they like to play in our face like we are. I also think that when it comes to Kyle and Mauricio, I think that Kyle wants Mauricio back. But I think Mauricio has checked all the way out. All the way out. And I think that the fact that Mauricio is now checked all the way out, and I think he may have come to a peace or terms with his marriage being over, not necessarily divorcing, because at this point, they're in their mid to late 50s. They have no prenup. All the kids are basically almost grown, not out the house because because basically all the kids live at the house except for the eldest one. So not necessarily out the house, but they're all basically almost grown. Portia's 15, 16, not saying she's an adult, but you know what I mean, about to go off to college in a year or two. I think from an economical standpoint, I think Mauricio is okay with not divorcing. Let's just roll with it from a money monetary stance. I don't think any of them are interested in necessarily getting married to somebody else. I don't think any of them are interested in having any more children. And usually those are reasons why people get divorced. They want to separate the funds, separate the property, get remarried one day, have children more one day, or more children one day. That's not the case for these two. So I think Mauricio was like, well, wait a minute. The reason why I didn't want to say we were separated was because I didn't want to tarnish the brand. But at this point, I've talked about it on the show, the Netflix show. He was more honest about their breakup than she was on his little Netflix show than she was the entire 13 seasons of Beverly Hills. He was more honest in a 60-second clip. I think that he is more resolved with them not being together. And I think that Kyle is regretting how she handled the separation. I think she thought it would scare him. Like when you're like young and stupid and you're like, oh my God, let's take a break because you want to scare the guy into committing to you. But then sometimes it like backfires and they're like, okay, bye. And you're like, wait, no, you're supposed to like blow up my text and like send me like flowers and bags and you're supposed to like, win me back. I think Kyle was so desperate and needy and wanting his attention and his time that I think the whole let's separate, you do you, I do me was her way of getting his attention. And I think that has now backfired. That's what I think is going on with them. I think Mauricio was like, well, wait a minute. I can date other people without people thinking I'm the bad guy. And us not being together hasn't really affected my brand the way I thought it would. Okay. That's kind of where I think Mauricio has landed on all of this. And then Kyle came out and said, because remember when it was like, oh, Mauricio, he's with the ski bunnies in Aspen, the influencer girls. And over here at the Candy Canes, we knew that was fake. I was like, that's a PR thing. I was like, that looks like a campaign or whatever. And it turns out all of that was filming for his show. So in season 2 of Buying Beverly Hills, he's filming for the show. And that's why he's with the influencer girls. They're supposed to be clients, allegedly. And they're out and they're taking photos and they're doing Instagram and they're posting and they're tagging. And they're on the show. So they're basically filming for the show. That's what Kyle said, at least. And I believe that because that whole stuff about Mauricio and the young influencers, that didn't make any sense. It just seemed very photo op to me. It seemed like a sponsored campaign. And turns out it was. It was for his show and it was all a campaign. With that being said, I think Mauricio kind of tapped out. I think he didn't understand his wife's personality change, her unhappiness, because I think that he was just still business as usual. Now, I'm not defending Mauricio in this. I understand how he felt, but I'm not defending him because I do think he probably should have stepped up for his wife. If your wife has a complete personality overhaul, if her best friend took her own life, if she is saying, I am depressed and I am low, if she is saying, I want out of this marriage, you as a husband who already has enough money for multiple generations, it's not like he has to work in order to provide. And it's either I work to provide or my family goes without. That's not the case. He's working for his own ego because he wants 100 offices open by the end of the year, because he wants to be the biggest agency in the world, because he wants accolades. So if you are in the position, if you have the privilege and you have the luxury to slow down, to take a step back and to focus on the well-being of your family, the mental health of your wife, you should, because that is unfortunately a privilege. It is a privilege to say, I'm going to step back from work to look after the emotional and mental and on some level spiritual well-being of my family. That is a privilege that the majority of people do not have. The majority of people got to figure it out while going to a 9 to 5, while paying all the bills, while keeping food on the table. The majority of people have to figure all of that stuff out and still survive. So I think Mauricio is dead wrong for the way he handled what happened with Kyle. And I'm gonna give Kyle some grace here. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm always gonna keep it real. I know Kyle can be vile and she can be manipulative and she can be whatever and all of that stuff. I get it. I've talked about it a million times on my own channel. I get that. I get it. But I also understand that she's a human being and that she really was going through something and that her husband of 27 years was simply not there for her. And that she is doing everything, not perfectly, but to be honest, textbook, when people are in crisis or in trauma, that's usually how people act and respond. They do attention-seeking behavior. They do total life changes that people are like, you're not drinking and you lost all this weight and you have a lesbian lover and you're getting tattoos and you're angry all the time and you're doing all of this stuff. And all of that is pretty textbook for someone who has faced true trauma and loss and identity crisis. And the way people process trauma usually is not healthy. That's why you usually get help in order to process the trauma in a healthy way. So how she was processing the trauma and needing his attention wasn't healthy. She's snapping at him. She's angry at him. She's doing all of this stuff to get his attention and it's not working. He's just confused and then angry and not sure what's going on. But it's pretty textbook because people don't usually process trauma on their own in a very, well, Mauricio, let me sit here and tell you these are my feelings and I'm on step 3 in the grieving process. And this is how, no, people don't operate like that. That's why people get help. They get a professional who helps them process the trauma in a healthy way. Okay? I think he was dead wrong for the way he handled it. Because he had the luxury and he had the privilege of slowing down, of prioritizing, his wife. If for nothing else, the fact that your wife has been very vocal that she's been depressed, she's at her lowest, and her best friend just took her own, self out. If for nothing else, those factors should have given him enough pause to be like, wait a minute. There's something bigger going on here, and I need to step in and look after the mental health of my wife. Now, I get it. I get Kyle is vile and what she did to LVP and how she's a pot stirrer and all this stuff. I totally get that. And that's a fun kiki. But right now, I'm talking about as an actual human being. Mauricio was dead wrong because I don't care how oblivious and confused he wants to act. I also think he used his oblivion and confusion as a way to not deal with his wife going through a crisis. Because we were talking about Kyle being in a crisis last year on my channel. So if we are talking about Kyle going through a crisis last year on my, lovely YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure her husband knew she was going through a crisis. But checking out and business as usual and being dismissive of her and acting confused and not knowing what's going on could even be his own coping mechanism. Because maybe he doesn't want to actually admit there is something fundamentally wrong here. There is something truly wrong in my marriage and within my wife. But I do think he had the wherewithal and he had the privilege and the luxury to check out. That's just kind of what I think about that. But I want to know what you guys think, you know? I want to know what you guys think. Whew. So put it down below. You know, do you think Kyle and Morgan are a real relationship? Or do you think they are a PR relationship? They tried to end it, but quickly they realized that we were on to them and they're fearful of the negative backlash. So now we're getting a lot of performative things. We're getting people leaking stuff to Dumas. We're getting Morgan all of a sudden grabbing Kyle's butt, you know? And what do you think about Kyle and Mauricio? Is their marriage truly over? Should he have tried harder? Should she have tried harder? Or maybe it's just time for them to go their separate ways. So let me know what you guys think about what's going on. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, Tay so much for the super sticker. I just saw it, so thank you so much. So Tay says, Kyle has always surrounded herself with yes women. That is true. That is very, very true. When it comes to Kyle, if you are not her yes person, she will become the victim and ice you out. That is very, very true. So I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat. And in the meantime, I will take some of your candy cane questions and comments. Okay. And again, thank you so much, Tay, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get up here. There's so many comments. I'm trying to get to a good one, or to the top. Okay. Bear with me, guys. All right, here we go. Okay. Hey, Foxy. Foxy says, hey, Candy and the Candy Canes. I will be there. Yay. Foxy says, hey, Candy and the Canes. Hey, sweetheart. Hi, Darren. What's up? Chocolate says, hey, everyone. Goodbye, Kyle. Chocolate Chunk says, hey, babe. Heaven Sent says, hey, love. Oh, actually, you guys, you know what I want to do? Where is it? Let me find it real quick. I want to talk about all of the ladies at the reunion. Let's do that. Okay. Here we go. All right. Let's do a quick breakdown of all of the women at the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 13 reunion. First, who do you think is the best dressed? Put it down below in the comment box. Is it Erika, Sutton, Kyle, Garcelle, Kathy, Annemarie, Dorit, Crystal? Now, Annemarie is wearing the same outfit that Charisse wore from the Real Housewives of Potomac. Take with that what you will. But I'm going to do a quick prediction of all of the women from the show. So let's start with Erika. I think Erika looks great here. I do. I like her outfit. I don't know what was the theme of the night. I don't know. What, this jungle book? I don't know. Anyway, I think Erika looks good. I'm tired of Erika. The entire season of Erika's comeback narrative, like, miss me with it. She's no victim. This isn't a comeback for her. This is, in my opinion, a woman who benefited from blood money, continuing to benefit from blood money. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. Erika, for me, can go away because I'm tired of compromising my own integrity and having to compartmentalize things. Because on one hand, I can't stand Erika for how she treated the victims, how she continued to victimize them, how she was so spiteful and vindictive going through the legal process to appeal over diamond rings she knew she would never get back. She just did it to prove a point. And to me, that's pretty evil. And I'm not down with that. I'm not with that. But then on the other hand, I actually think Erika can be a vibe. When she is hanging out with Garcelle and Sutton and she's being normal and she's funny and they're having a good time, it's a vibe. And I actually really enjoy them. So I'm tired of putting my integrity on the line with this chick. So she can go. Sutton. So Sutton is saying that the reason why she fainted and had tremors at the reunion had nothing to do with her drinking, because allegedly there is this sort of smear campaign against Sutton going on, saying that she was going through alcohol withdrawals. And that is why she, got, shaky and, fainty at the reunion, and she's in rehab and all this stuff. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second. I don't think that Sutton is in rehab. I don't think she's going through alcohol withdrawals. I think the whole Sutton is an alcoholic narrative came squarely from Kyle's camp, because Kyle was pissed that Sutton was talking about her marriage and her drinking and what's going on with Morgan and all of that stuff. So prayers goes out to Sutton. I hope she's okay. I hope, whatever reason, was it dehydration, whatever the case is, I hope she's okay. Having the shakes and being carted off in an ambulance, that's never fun. No matter how old you are, that's never good when it comes to health. I feel like this was Sutton's season. I think Kyle thought that Sutton was weak and she could take her down this season, but it turned out it was actually Sutton's season. I think Sutton became the HBIC of Beverly Hills. I think Garcelle is the anchor, but I think Sutton was the HBIC. It was her trip to Spain. Everything kind of revolved around her. I think she quickly became the HBIC. She went head to head with Kyle. And I think at the reunion, for as long as she's there before she gets sick, I think she's going to hold her own. I don't think that she fainted had anything to do with Kathy. I think Kathy and Sutton are fine. They're fine. Because at the end of the day, Sutton has real money and real coin, and I think that Kathy has real money and real coin. And I think that they hang out in similar circles. So I don't think that they're going to have a falling out like that. I think it's going to be like very society. Like, oh, hey, love. Oh, come over for tea and blah, blah, blah. And it's cool. I think Kathy and Sutton are fine. I don't think there's any type of beef there at all. At all. Oh, thank you so much, GGF, for the super sticker. That is so, oh, that's so sweet. I really appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really do. Now, with Sutton, do I think some of her storylines were I'm not going to say forced, but were they scripted? Yeah. But I think this entire season, all of the women's storylines were obviously scripted. I mean, obviously. I don't think any of these women were actually telling the truth. None of them. Erika, with her whole comeback tour, missed me with the bullshit. Missed me with all of that. That's why she brought Crystal to Vegas, because everything was teeing up for her big Vegas reveal. And then her performing at the SoFi Stadium, this was her comeback opening, this was her like prelude to her Vegas residency. All of that was fake and scripted. And you know why? Because Bravo NBC is the one producing her Bet on Blonde spinoff on Bravo. So, of course, they're going to use The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills as a built-in advertising and marketing machine for one of their shows, because they want the money. So everything Erika did this season, everything from I'm not fighting with the women for Lent, was all scripted. It was all reputation rehab in order for Bravo and NBC to promote their spinoff, Bet on Blonde, and for her to promote her Vegas residency. So her entire storyline was scripted and fake and pre-produced. All of them are pre-produced. Sutton, I don't believe for 1 second, and I love you, Sutton, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't believe for 1 second you were distraught over your ex-husband going to London. I don't believe for 1 second that you want to prove your independence to him. I don't believe for 1 second that you want to be, I am woman, hear me roar, and my businesses. And I think all of that was a cute little storyline for you. Because, and the reason why I say this is this, and this is just my opinion. So let me know if you guys resonate with it or you don't. Either way, it's cool. So, share. Just in my personal opinion, and I'm not being sexist, but I think for women, when you are still in it with your ex, and by in it, I mean you still hold a torch, or you haven't gotten 100% over the guy, or you still have something to prove to him. You talk about it all the time, unconsciously, because it's just always on your mind. You're not doing it on purpose. You know, you have that friend who broke up with the guy a year ago, but every single time you see them, they are still talking about them like they're still together. Sutton has never, ever in the history of being on the show talked about her ex Christian in any way that would make you believe she still had any true emotional attachment to him, where she would be having these breakdowns like she's trying to have in Spain because he's moving away for work. And honest with you, when you have the type of money these people have, him moving to London is not that big of a deal. That's like, oh, fire up the jet and we'll just go. People with this type of money, Sutton, who bought a horse online. She bought a horse online. And you want me to believe she's concerned that her husband, who already travels internationally, that's why her psyche is crumbling because he's going to London? Miss me with the bullshit, Sutton. Miss me with it. Miss me with it. Like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I think she's been over the divorce. I think she's been over it. But I think she used it for story. Merce, I think that was sad for her? Sure, maybe it's her friend. Do I think it was as devastating as she put on? No. But I will tell you this. I am more willing to suspend my disbelief for the Merce and the husband and all of that stuff. It's fine. Do I think it meant something to her? Yes. As deep as she made it out? No. And even Kyle was like, I never heard of Merce, like in all this stuff. She just needed an excuse to go to Spain. But Kyle, you're not doing your job because you keep telling us how fake this show is. It's your job to pretend it's real. We know it's fake. We're not stupid. We know all of this stuff is fake. We know. We know. But you're not supposed to tell us that, because the gag is the fun part of it. The escapism is that we get to pretend it's real. But when the main person, Kyle, keeps telling us it's fake, you're kind of letting the air out of the balloon, Kyle. We know it's fake. We know it's exaggerated. We know it's pre-produced. That's why they have producers. That's why we call them storylines. We know it's fake. We know it's scripted reality, but let us pretend it's real. Okay? But I think all of the women had very fakey stuff going on. But I still like Sutton. I do. She's one of my favorites on the show. Kyle, I don't even need to get into Kyle. I just spent an hour on her. Kyle, the whole thing was fake. Kyle, first of all, just be honest. You don't mess with Dorit because there's a part of you, whether it is true or not, but there is a part of you that believes she had some level, shout out to Bill Clinton, some level of sexual interaction with that woman, your husband. I think a part of Kyle has either confirmed it or she believes it. The level of affair or sex or flirtation or whatever between Dorit and Mauricio, I don't know. But I think in Kyle's heart, she believes some level happened. And that's why she's not messing with Dorit anymore. We needed to talk about that. She, in her whole text to Dorit, somebody said you said some stuff about me and it really, really hurt me. But I'm not going to tell you who or say what it was. That is manipulative. If you're going to come to me and be like, Candy, somebody said you said something so hurtful about me, so hurtful that I've ended our friendship. So hurtful, but I'm not going to tell you what they said, and I'm not going to tell you who said it. I'm going to be like, well, then shut the hell up and turn around, block my number, delete it, act like you never knew me before, and get out of my face, because that is very, very manipulative, and it's also very emotionally abusive. If I'm saying as if I'm pretending like they're actually friends, because I don't think Dorit actually really cares for Kyle. I think she just pretended to care for Kyle. But say you really are friends with someone and someone says that to me, that's emotional abuse. Because if I care about this person and I love my friend and I'm like, you're no longer friends with me and you're saying somebody said something that I allegedly said, but you're not going to tell me what they said, and you're not going to tell me who said it, but you're just going to not be my friend anymore. That's emotionally abusive and very, very manipulative. It could also be a lie. It could be a tactic to get the person to be like, oh, well, did this person say this? Well, this is what I meant, and blah, 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 and get somebody to tell on themselves. So there's a lot going on there. I think Kyle's been lying for a long time about her relationship, about her marriage, about her friendships. I didn't believe anything that really came out of Kyle's mouth this season. Garcelle. Love Garcelle. But again, I think Garcelle was going through a lot emotionally and internally that she didn't share. I think we saw glimpses of it, but she didn't go to the root cause of it. This season for me with Garcelle, I love her, and she is the anchor of the show now. And by anchor, I mean the relationships are really rooted in Garcelle. The fact that she's best friends with Sutton, the fact that she made amends with Erika, the fact that she calls out Dorit and humbles the hell out of Dorit, where Dorit has to actually shut up for a second and reflect and, come back to her senses in her little bubble. Dorit can say whatever she wants, but Garcelle checked the hell out of her real quick. She gathered all of her edges to the point where Dorit got up and left Sutton's house, okay? Or Crystal's house. She's cool with Crystal, so Garcelle has really become that anchor. And we saw that. We saw it in a very pivotal scene where it's Garcelle and Erika and they're drinking and they're having fun and it's a kiki. And she's like, oh, and here's my friend, Sutton. And then they all kind of come together and she's like, this is the new trio. I love this little social experiment. And then ever since then, Garcelle and Sutton and Erika are very cool. We saw it in Spain, even on the bus. Erika's like, I know Sutton's the best and I know her better than you. And Garcelle's like, okay, like they're doing all of that stuff. They've been aces ever since. So Garcelle is now the anchor of this show, where it's where do you stand with Garcelle is meaningful and relevant, where it used to be where do you stand with Kyle was meaningful and relevant. But when it comes to Garcelle, I love her. She's great, but this season was too much about her children. It was too much. And I personally felt uncomfortable. Maybe I'm prude, but I didn't want to see 15-year-olds about are they having sex or are they not having sex every other scene. Maybe I'm prude, maybe I'm conservative. I don't know, but anytime people are talking about underage sex, I don't like it. It's weird to me, it's bizarre. Maybe it can be teachable moments. I don't want it though. I don't know, it's just not for me. It's not for me. It can be a moment, but not every scene you have is with your children and talking about your 15-year-old's sex life and not wanting to be a grandmother. That's just me. That's just me. I do love seeing her and her family, of course. I do love seeing her and her beautiful boys, of course. But I would have loved to see Garcelle be Garcelle, the woman, not just Garcelle, the mom. I want to see her. Why is she dating? Why is she not dating? Her having dinner and going out with like her friends or other people and talking about what her life looks like now and what she's dealing with. Like for example, in Spain, when she kind of teared up and she's like, I do want a relationship, but I'm being very, careful because I want the right person. I've had abandonment issues with my father. And then my ex-husband cheated on me and that really hurt. And, I'm okay with being alone until I find the right person. Like when she was saying all that, I was like, I wanted this all season because I think as adults, that is what we can really connect with. How do you trust after your husband cheats on you in a public way? How do you trust when your father abandoned you and you're still holding on to that? How do you trust when you don't know what people do? They want to date me because I'm famous? Do they want to date me because I have money? Do they want to date like how do you navigate coming back to self after all of these things? How do you navigate being a woman, and how do you navigate being a lover or a girlfriend or a wife after being in mommy? Like I would have loved to see more of Garcelle, the woman, because we see her as mom and we see her as boss, but I want to see her as her. because she's so interesting. And then I wanted her to dive more into like, well, I've thought about dating a woman, she's like, I haven't done it yet, but, just falling in love with the person. To me, that was way more genuine than any of this fake performative stuff Kyle and Morgan are doing. Way more genuine when she was just like, I've thought about, what would it be like to be with a woman and just falling in love with the person? Like, I understand that. Could she explore that? Like, that to me would have been such a vibe. Such a vibe. But I feel like she was in a vulnerable position. And I feel like all of these women were, whether I, rock with them or not. I feel like as women, and I said this before, they all seemed sad. All of the women. Erika seemed sad. Sutton seemed sad. Even Crystal seemed sad. And I'm not sure why Crystal's sad, but she even seemed sad. They all just seemed sad. And just not in a very joyful, happy place. And I think that she covered a lot of that through the showing of her children, if that makes sense. Okay, now let's talk about, and thank you so much, DGF, and thank you so much, Tay Tay. I appreciate you both. Okay, now let's talk about Crystal. Crystal got activated this season. She definitely got activated, which I was definitely here for. I wanted to see more of that. Again, I don't know if it's Crystal only being activated in certain moments with like Annemarie and things like that, or if it's production sort of cutting it out. And actually at this point, I think it's production cutting it out, because what we did get from Crystal was actually really fun. Like her and Rob being like, I think it was Morgan's camp who did it, and all of that stuff. And Crystal having more of an opinion, but then she kind of fell flat when she would be directly called out, when Dorit was like, well, what did you say about, Sutton and the vodka in the morning? And she's like, oh, well, I want to get it right and all this stuff. And it's just like, no, Crystal, like, just speak the truth. You told Sutton the truth. Dorit did say that Sutton's the type of person to put vodka in her coffee in the morning. And then Dorit came out and said, yeah, I said that because I was basically being Kyle's mouthpiece. Dorit, she said it. She's like, yeah, I was defending Kyle. Kyle kind of put me up to it, and I said it. But Crystal kind of crumbled in that moment, and so I need Crystal to be more consistent. Do I think Crystal said that the women were uneducated and fake socialites and all of that stuff? Yeah. Do I care that she said it? No. Who cares? Who cares? Crystal said that. I don't think that's so much of a big deal. I would have liked if Crystal would have said, yeah, I probably said something like that, and I said what I said. Then I would have been like, I so respect you, Crystal, because I do think she said something like that. Do I think Annemarie probably twisted it and took it out of context and weaponized it? 100%. Do I think Crystal said it to Annemarie? No. I think Annemarie may have been in the room or heard, but I don't think Crystal said it to her. Anyway, I think Crystal could come back next season as a friend of, but I need her to step it up. Keep the energy up. Stay in I said what I said mode. Don't fall back and blush and flunder. And throw lavish parties. I want to see your wealth. You're married to a Disney exec. You have your own coconut company. Your family has money. You said your brother was basically like a Justin Bieber, K-pop star. Clearly, you guys have some coins. I want to see it. Crystal, I need you to dress better. I said what I said. I need Crystal to bring it when it comes to dressing and makeup and glam. Step it up, boo-boo. Step it up. And I need you to step up with showing off your wealth. And I mean that. I want you to be shameless with it, because that's what I want in these shows. Everything has its place, right? And over here with the Candy Canes, we are emotionally and mentally intelligent. So we understand that everything has its place and that there are nuance to things. So when it comes to a show like The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I want you to be shameless with your wealth, as long as it's legitimate. Obviously, I'm tired of the fraudsters, the Erika Janes and the Jinshaws. I'm not talking about them. They all need to go to jail and stay there forever. I mean, if you have legitimate money, clean money, I want you to be shameless with it. Shameless. I want you to drip diamonds. I want you to drink champagne for breakfast. I want you to be shameless with it. I don't want you to be relatable, negative Nancy, no money Monica over in Salt Lake City. I don't want a relatable housewife. I don't want Gina and her casita. I'm sorry. I don't want a relatable housewife. I will get that other places. I will get relatability other places, but not on my housewives. I don't watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills to relate to these women. That's not the point of the show. I don't want relatability. I want escapism. I want affluence. I want you to drip in fur, vintage or fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want it dripping and doing all of the things. So you need to bring it all the way. All the way. Okay? Kathy, I love you, but your presence needs to make sense. I feel it's going just to be a therapy session with you and Kyle. We could have missed this. This could have been an email. You know what I'm saying? This could have been an email, Kathy. And I like you, Kathy, but you weren't on the show. So why do you hold position at the reunion? If it's just you and Kyle having a therapy session, I don't need it. I don't need it. It's like that meme going around. This is a complete side note, and I want to find this man. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. There's this man on some show. I think it's the Karame Brown show or Karame Brown, whatever the hell his name is. Anyway, there's this guy in this show, and it's like this meme going around on Instagram and TikTok, and the guy's like crying. It's like a talk show or something, and he's crying, and he's like, "I don't want it. I don't want it. Take me off. Cut the show. I'm done. I don't want it." Anyway, that makes me laugh all of the time. I just went down a complete rabbit hole tangent. Anyway, I said all that to say this. Kathy, cut the show. I don't want it. If it's only going to be you and Kyle having a therapy session. That was not what this season was even about. It wasn't. And you weren't on the show. So why are you having a therapy session with her? I get it. You're going to promote Paris and Love. I get it. You're going to promote probably some projects you have with NBC and Bravo. I don't need it. I don't want it. To me, this is lazy. This is stunt. I don't get it. It makes zero sense. I don't think, and I also don't think for 1 second that Kathy is the reason why Sutton faints. I think that is stunt editing in the trailer. I don't think it has anything to do with Kathy and Sutton. I think Kathy and Sutton are completely fine. I think they're cool gang. They're fine. So hopefully it's entertaining. Hopefully it gives something, but I don't want it. Karame Brown. Thank you, Candy. Thank you, Candy Cane Girl. And thank you so much for being a channel member. I really appreciate that. Yes, Karame Brown, when the guy, he's like, I don't want it. Take me off. Cut the show. I want to reach out to that man. I need to find him some way and just be like, I want to thank you and apologize because I have gotten so much entertainment and laughs out of your pain because this man is clearly in some like emotional pain. Like he is crying. He is in it. Something to do with like his father being absent. And the father to me is very narcissistic and cold. And the son is clearly in pain. But the way he talks and the way anyway, let me get back to this, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay. Now, Annemarie, she better be a one and done. She better be a one and done. It's too much. I heard that Bravo edited out, I believe it's Crystal, Kyle, and Erika were coming for Annemarie, maybe Garcelle too, for the transphobic comments that her and her husband, or just her husband, one of the two, allegedly said. And that Bravo cut it out. I get why Bravo would cut it out because I think they're trying not to get too dark or too deep like before. And I guess if it wasn't brought up on the show, but I'm also kind of like, let the chips fall where they may. If you're trying to put this woman on the show and introduce us to our lives through the show, then you need to show the good, the bad, the ugly. You need to show all of it. So I don't know if we're going to see it, if that rumor is true or not, but I would like to see them confront her about it. You know, whether you agree with the comments or not, I would like to see where she lands on it. I said this before, and I mean this respectfully, not in a derogatory, disrespectful way at all, by any means. I think I think Annemarie has some sort of tick, some sort of social spectrum, not getting cues. I think there's an actual tick with her. I think something's not all firing. Like she will say something out of her mouth, like Sutton has an eating disorder. And then literally the next second be like, I never said that. You said that. I never said that. I don't think she's lying. I think that there is something actually ticky boom, like there's something not connecting with her. And I think she has very, very low self-esteem. You know, the fact that she said, "Oh, my husband says I'm an 8.5 across the board and I'm proud of that." But then when I ask all my friends about it, they're like, "What? Like that's not good," and all this stuff and how. And I think when she says to Crystal or someone, "You're acting like a hormonal teenager," I was like, that's probably what your husband calls you anytime you have a normal human reaction. And again, this is just my opinion, but given her husband and the allegations against him and the personality we've seen, given her personality and disposition, I feel like Annemarie, and even what she said in Spain, how she wants to work on herself and actually be happy and all that stuff. Even though I don't rock with her, she's not my cup of tea. I personally don't like her personality. I don't like her energy. She's not my personal cup of tea in that particular way. Nothing against her by any means. I don't know her. But I just mean like in that way, I don't vibe with her. But again, from a human standpoint and a woman to woman standpoint, I think she is in deep denial about who she married. Not an unawareness. I think she knows exactly who she married. But I think she's in deep denial about it, if that makes sense. Like you can know who somebody is, but I think she's deluded herself. I think she's drinking the Kool-Aid. I think that he has probably really worked on her self-esteem, her sense of self. I think she has very, very low self-esteem. And I think he knew that. And that's why he targeted her. You know? And when and I don't know if you guys are watching the after show, but she was talking about how her mother essentially abandoned her and gave her up for adoption, and it was a closed adoption. And the mother was like, I can't give you the life you deserve, but don't ever contact me. I don't want any contact. And so she did some sort of like, you know, genetic testing, and she found out she had like an aunt. And so she messaged the aunt and was like, hi, like, I was adopted around this time. Like, do you know my mom? And the person just like blocked her and like never responded, which is heartbreaking. But I think that kind of gives some perspective and context to how Annemarie is. And I do think that there is some type of misfiring going on with her. I don't think she picks up on social cues. I think she has very low self-esteem. I think she has the abandonment wounds going on. And this is not to excuse her behavior, because I think the way she treated Sutton was horrible. I think the way she treated Crystal was horrible. But I also think she was played by Kyle. I think Kyle also was like, this is a person who seeks validation and approval. This is a person who wants to please me. And so Kyle wound her up and was like, go after Sutton, go after Sutton, go after Crystal, go after Crystal. Because those are two people that Kyle don't really like or mess with. And those are the two people she targeted. But then all of a sudden, Kyle was like, I don't know her. I met her once. Right? Oh, I didn't tell her to do my dirty work. Well, Kyle, we saw you. We saw you. You were at your house talking to her about the esophagus, and Annemarie was like, "Oh, that doesn't make sense. Does she have a sphincter and all this other stuff?" Well, I'm gonna have to talk to her about this. You never once said, "Hey, Annemarie, that's kind of weird. Don't say anything. It's not that serious or deep." You were like, "Yeah." You were egging her on, and Annemarie wanted to be your yes person, so she would have an ally on the show and she would have cover on the show. And also, I think her personality seeks outside validation. I'm not saying it excuses her behavior, because how she acted was crazy. And then doubling down on anesthesiologists and the nurses and the RNs and the doctors and the yada, 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 all that crap. But I think it kind of puts in context a little bit of how she is. And to be honest with you, I kind of feel bad for her. I do. I feel bad for because I don't think it's all 100% there. I personally don't rock with her. She would not be a person that I personally would befriend or want to be around, because even though I think that there's a tick missing, people who say things and then say they didn't say it, people who carry bones, people who lie, people who speak weird stuff as if it's fact about the doctors and all that, those are very dangerous people. Whether she means to or not, that's a very dangerous person to be around. So for me, I wouldn't rock with her personally. I think this could be a one and done. I don't think we need her back. I don't need to see anything else about her. Also, with the allegations against her husband, if you guys don't know, trigger warning, do a Google search about the allegations of how he may or may not have sexually taken advantage of women without their consent, if you understand what I'm saying. Multiple women, just Google it. I personally think she doesn't need to come back. I don't want to see it. And I don't think she added anything to the show. Like, if she doesn't come back, I don't consider that a loss. Dorit. What is going on with this outfit, Dorit? I'm confused. I personally am not Islam or Muslim. I hope I'm saying the correct terms. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. So I don't know if the hijab, if I mispronounce it, if I'm saying it incorrectly, I apologize. I don't mean to be, if I'm ignorant, I apologize. I don't know if that's cosplay with what she's wearing here. I don't know if that would be offensive or disrespectful to people's lifestyles and religions and all. I don't know, because that's not my culture. So I don't know. Is this cosplaying? Is this I don't know. I don't know. But all I have to say is when I saw this outfit, I felt a little type of way. It kind of gave me the ick. And it's not even my culture. It's not my religion at all. I'm Black and I'm Christian. So it's not my religion. But I felt some type of way looking at this outfit for her. I was like, is this okay? Like, what are we doing, Dorit? Other than that, and people will sound off about it, people who have much more knowledge about it, because I don't. So I don't know if that's offensive or not, because it's not my culture. But I felt like, what in the what is going on with this outfit? When it comes to Ding Dong Dorit, beside that, this to me also could be Dorit's last season. I know she's not giving anything. She milked the PTSD so long and so far that even PK was like, this doesn't make any sense. You seem a little bit delusional, babe. I'm going to be over here in London doing my thing. See you when I see ya. Like, even PK was like, stop lying. Even PK was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this fakeness. The PTSD storyline was played out and exploitative and rude to people who truly do have PTSD. Because Dorit, girl, stop. You couldn't go to Sutton's boutique event in West Hollywood, but you had no problem busting it open in Vegas for Magic Mike. Now, I know people have different triggers. I know trauma hits different. I know that different things, but you can't be like, I need to know exactly how many people are going to be there, what my surroundings are for your boutique in West Hollywood. But I'm going to go to Vegas and bust it open every single night for Magic Mike and Erika and not flinch. I didn't see her have a single PTSD episode with that. Not Nan one. So I didn't see not Nan PT episode in Spain. Not Nan one. So I don't know what's going on with that one. I don't know what to tell you. She doesn't have a storyline. She no longer has Kyle for cover. And she's just And the whole thing with her and Garcelle, honestly, I'm happy it happened in the sense that it's showing people how it feels to deal with microaggressions, with institutionalized biases and unconscious racism and biases. Because do I think that Dorit herself is like, hi, my name is Dorit Kimsley and I am a racist? No. Do I think she has institutionalized, insidious, and unconscious biases? 100%. Her tone with Garcelle is different than her tone with the other women. She puts a little bass in it. She yells, she condescends, she talks down. Oh, I have help who's black and brown. My mother's best friend is black, and blah, 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 blah. Garcelle this, Garcelle that, and da, 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 and you're attacking me. It's like, girl, stop. And then being such a Karen and with her white fragility, how dare you say that you don't feel safe with your kids around us, Garcelle? How dare you? Well, because you guys were cussing out her children and her child was cyberbullied. Of course she doesn't feel safe and laughing at her children and then being like, oh, Erika and all this stuff. And Garcelle made the great point that I made before. She was like, I'm not allowed to feel some type of way about the physical and mental and emotional safety of my children in this group after everything that's happened, both on camera and off camera. But yet you still get to claim PTSD a year and a half after an alleged robbery that you made $2.3 million off of insurance money, just enough to pay off your husband's gambling debt. But I'm not supposed to feel some type of way about the safety of my children's well-being. Girl, bye. And Garcelle, I hope you stay on Dorit's neck every chance you get this reunion. Because as we see, Ding Dong Dorit is fighting for that diamond and has learned nothing and is still trying to come for Garcelle. PSA, Dorit, that angle ain't gonna work for you. It ain't gonna work. You trying to attack Garcelle will never land. Will never land. And the people who identify with you, Dorit, are the people who have their own insidious, institutionalized racism and biases. And instead of saying, well, because I identify with Dorit, maybe I should look at myself. They want to say, oh, everybody's making it about race. Why can't you say a black woman's angry? You're being too sensitive. No, you're doubling down on your own unconscious, or maybe it's conscious, who the hell knows at this point, racism and biases because it makes you comfortable. And you don't want to be uncomfortable in your own awareness and who you are. And it takes a very self-actualized, emotionally intelligent person to look at themselves. I'll give you a personal example of myself where I had to check myself. So I was at my friend's wedding. This was a couple of years ago. I was at my friend's wedding and a bunch of our friends were together, and one of my good guy friends is gay. I'm not gay, I'm straight. I consider myself an ally, but I am a straight woman. And one of my good guy friends is gay. And we were talking about something. And I made some remark or some joke about the airline attendants who were male, about like them most likely being gay or something like that. I forgot exactly what I said. I meant no harm by it. I meant no ill will, no evil, no homophobia, nothing. I didn't mean anything by it. And it wasn't a joke. I think I said something, but I think in what I was saying was a stereotype that male flight attendants are gay. It was something like that. And I could see the look on my friend's face that the comment I said was hurtful to him. Was not my intention. I am not homophobic by any means. It was not my intention at all to hurt him or to be mean or to anything. I just said something regurgitating some type of stereotype that I had picked up from somewhere, but when I saw that what I said hurt him, the next day I took him aside and I said, hey, I made this comment and I saw the look on your face and I know what I said hurt you. And I am so sorry. I don't want to get choked up thinking about it because it makes me sad every time I think about it. But I looked at him and I was like, I know what I said was hurtful to you. It was not my intention. And I don't know what it feels like to be gay, lesbian, trans, whatever it is, LGBTQIA in this world. I don't know what that is. And I am so sorry that I hurt you. And he looked so relieved and he was just like, "No, Candy, like I know you didn't mean it, but like, it is a stereotype and all this stuff and like we hugged it out and everything's fine and we're still super close." But what I tell you that story because we need all of us to start checking ourselves. Because that's the only way anything is going to change is when we are brave enough to be uncomfortable in our own skin. When we are brave enough to acknowledge, you know what? I was out of line. I was out of pocket. It's not my heart. It's not my intention. But that doesn't mean that the effect isn't dangerous or negative on someone. So for the people who are like, just stop it. Stop it. I know it's not my candy canes. My candy canes, you guys are amazing and smart and brilliant and loving and self-aware. Not you guys. I'm talking about the other weirdos out there where it's like we all have to get to the point to look in the mirror and say, well, what are my own unconscious biases? What are my own unconscious isms that I hold? Where am I not in alignment with my heart and my words and my actions? So that's why I shared that story with you guys, because it's okay to not be perfect. And it's okay to admit, I just said something that was really messed up. And I am so sorry for that. And I think if Dorit would have just done that, it would have been a completely different situation. But instead, she has to be like, well, I'm Jewish. Well, I didn't mean that, Garcelle. Well, blah, 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 blah. And blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, stop it. Like, I could have easily said to my friend, well, yeah, you're gay, but I'm Black. I could have easily said that to him. Oh, don't be so offended by what I said. You're gay, but I'm Black. I could have easily done that, which is what Dorit did. Oh, Garcelle, you're Black, but I'm Jewish. That's what she did. But that's what we have to stop that. And that's what Dorit does. She is a Karen and she gaslights you into thinking that your feelings are invalid and that you're crazy and how dare you question her. So ding dong Dorit, I'm going to need you to exit stage left. We're done with you. Your grift is over. Bye-bye. And you can keep those text messages that Kyle sent you because to be honest with you, I would take Kyle over you any day. And that is saying a lot. You betrayed Kyle. Now you're trying to make it like she's some master manipulator silencer. When to me, the text messages was basically like, look, we haven't been rocking. We've been lying all season. Let's just get through tomorrow. That's basically what Kyle was saying to her. Let's just get through tomorrow, chick. I got enough on my plate. But the problem was Dorit had nothing on her plate other than being, racial microaggressions against Garcelle, fake PTSD that even her husband called her out on. Other than that, what does Ding Dong Dorit have on her plate? Nothing. Dorit was like, well, now I got something. So miss me with her. So I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. First, the fashions. What do you think about their fashions? What do you think about what they're wearing? And then also, what do you think about all of their storylines for this season? Did you believe them? Were you invested? Who do you want to come back next season? Who do you not want to come back next season? And what do you think about the reunion? I think the reunion is going to be good. I think it's going to be juicy. But again, I don't think it's going to be satisfying because the elephant in the room, at least for me, is the rumor about Dorit and Mauricio. And that's clearly never going to be addressed. So we're never going to get true closure on this, right? So let me know what you guys think. Put it down below. And as always,